Kathy, Roberta, thank you for coming. Hi, thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. Kathy, I'll start with you.
Okay.
Why is play a four-letter word?
Well, it shouldn't be a four-letter word.
It shouldn't be a four-letter word, so what happened? What did we get wrong?
I think it became just play. When people got
modified
worried,
with just.
Modified with the just. As we became a more global society, people started to worry and have fear that, oh my gosh, if my kids are playing rather than working, they're going to fall behind every other kid on the block. They didn't want that because all of us want our kids to go to MIT and Harvard and start now in the proper preschool. Then the toy companies caught on, and they thought, well, this is a great opportunity. Let's monopolize on the fear. Let's market that we can help these kids get ahead. And all of a sudden, toys started to morph more into workstations than into toys themselves. And then you got the educational toy market.
Might I react to what Kathy just said? So I just attended James Heckman's talk. He's a Nobel Prize winner in economics, and he studies early childhood.
Yes.
And one of the things that he emphasized in his talk was that in our field, it used to be the case that IQ ruled. And now the findings are showing that it's not about IQ. It's about social emotional development. It's about perseverance. It's about executive function. And these are all the things that develop in the context of play.
What is play? What defines play?
It has to have an imaginary component. It's done voluntarily, and it doesn't have any kind of a specific goal. But in fact,
well, I was going to say, let me
go
for that.
Yes, go for it.
There's also a more enriched definition that we put out last year, that you're active, not passive when you play. You're engaged in something. That's kind of like focusing in, you're in your flow. We can have free play at one end of that spectrum, and then you can have what we call guided play that actually has a learning goal in mind, but allows the child to be the director of the learning. And then you go to games. Well, the games are well thought out, these board games and things, but the kids are also having fun while they're doing it, and you can go all the way up to non-play or direct instruction.
We're not Luddites, and we are firmly in favor of where's my cell phone, and but doing puzzles is great for kids, especially if they do them with adults, because the adults casually offer them important information like, is that an edge piece? Playing with blocks is a wonderful thing for children to do. And when parents do it with them, they naturally talk to their kids, and kids pick up all kinds of concepts.
So with that context, what are learning landscapes?
Oh, playful learning landscapes is where smart cities and human development meet. And what we're about is changing the landscape of cities so that there are places where children and families can go and, without being teachy-preachy, can engage in activities that will feed right into their learning and conversation.
Let me build on that. What if you could move the learning outside, that stimulation that would occur in so many places, out into public spaces? They don't have to be destinations. They have to be invitations from public spaces to engage with the very puzzles, with the very blocks, with the very impulse control hopscotches that we can create right there at a bus stop, right there in a library, right there in a park.
Right, so the big virtue of playful learning landscapes is it's free and it's in kids' neighborhoods.
And it's not a destination.
That's right.
Yeah.
So give me an example. West Philadelphia?
West Philadelphia.
Talk to me about West Philadelphia.
So in West Philadelphia, we had an idea. And that idea was, if you have to use the buses, why are bus stops just benches where people sit? And if you watch what goes on at a bus stop every day,
I'll demonstrate.
It's like this. Two people.
Right. And the kid is
like
wandering
this,
around.
or looking at another cell phone.
If they're old enough, yes.
Okay, so that's what's going on in our environment right now. So we reimagined it, and we asked if you could build a puzzle wall at a bus stop. Could you put something down on the ground where the kids were getting active and playing a game like hopscotch? And could that hopscotch be designed so that you could ask the kids, where you see 2 feet, use 1. Where you see 1, use 2. So if they're cleverly designed with the learning science embedded in the architecture itself,
Yes.
it invites conversations between parents and children. One more piece.
Yes, please.
The community has to be involved,
Yeah.
and it has to be culturally relevant. So at this bus stop, over 100 community children helped us to build it, and community members picked the spot that was important to them, a spot where Martin Luther King had given one of the first Freedom March speeches. And so our puzzles are Martin Luther King.
So, but it gets better. We took findings from the science of learning
Yeah.
and turned those into things that kids and families can play at. And secondly, we actually did an experiment. We compared the amount of talk that children and parents did in our Playful Learning Landscapes installation compared to a playground that was also right in the neighborhood and that attracted people from the same demographic. And we know from that how much, for example, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math language, comes out in the context of our learning landscape installations compared to the playground.
So these come out of eventually metro budgets. But what do? Well, our hope and prayer is that we're going to be able to lift up a neighborhood so that these homes will then allow their kids to get that stimulation in the public spaces and will begin to narrow the very, very long held since the 1970s achievement gap and narrow it. At the core of everything we know in the science, it's that we learn through a brain that has been evolutionarily prepared to interact with human beings. So the more we can stimulate that interaction and the more we can direct it or target it towards certain outcomes, the better off our children will be and the more opportunities to thrive. Dream about what cities can be, and that's where we take Playful Learning Landscapes.
Thank you both. Thank you for your work. Thank you for stopping by the studio.
Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you, thank
Thanks.
you.